AJ, you rode a 125 at Atlanta Supercross. Please tell us how that went.
It was, what's up, guys, by the way? It was way harder than I thought it was going to be. And I know that sounds silly because everyone should be like, well, duh, that's going to be hard. It was so physical. I was like, man, riding 125, it should be easy. I can kind of flick it around, throw it around, put it where I want it. So you would imagine it would be less physically demanding, but a 125 on a Supercross track, when you're stretching everything, when you can barely clear anything, when you're like trying to do everything you can just to get to the end of the whip section, I'm like, this is exhausting. Props to Stank Dog for doing that every weekend.
Did you ride media day or press day?
No. So you want to know the crazy part?
Okay.
And no one will believe this, but I had never ridden a 125 on a Supercross track until that time qualifier. And we only had one time qualifier for me to learn how to ride a 125.
I saw you rode a little bit like on an outdoor track, but you hadn't ridden Supercross track yet.
Right. So I rode that bike once on an outdoor track that Thursday, and I felt great. But in my head, I'm like, man, I don't know what gear to hit a triple in. I don't know what gear to go. Whoops, like nothing.
Was Stank helping you out with that, though?
Yeah, so Stank now his bike's really done up, and I had ridden it, and it was amazing. The only thing we put into ours is we had a piston and an exhaust. But he told me, he said, AJ, run stock gearing. I think stock gearing will be perfect. And he goes, I'll just give you advice on what gear to be in. So I'm like, okay. And I kind of just listened, and it turned out stock gearing was pretty much perfect. But it's tricky. Like, you start the whoops in fourth gear, and you have to downshift midway through the whoops just to get to the end.
Wow.
That's not risky.
450s are upshifting. On a 125, you're downshifting. That's interesting. Well, I guess you're probably lucky you didn't have to be at press day. Well, it probably would have been nice for you, but could you even have jumped that massive triple that Hunter crashed on a 125? Was that even possible?
I would say, I don't know. It's tough to say. Like, if the placement of the takeoff, they didn't change the takeoff, right? They only messed with the landing.
Yeah, there wasn't much run up going in.
There wasn't, but there kind of was enough. What I would have done, honestly, because I would have wanted to have jumped it, I would have went around the berm and came from like where the pavement was.
Okay.
Just to say I did it on the 125 because it would have looked really cool. But the problem is also, if you mistime something on the 125, you don't have the power to pull you out from it.
Okay.
Especially coming down from that high up.
It is funny, though. I don't know if anybody said this to you or not, but I noticed you in the heat throwing oppos over that big double. And I thought it was cool. AJ's just having fun, throwing little whips because he's like, that's what he's doing right now.
Put on a show, dude.
Yeah. Well, the scary thing about doing a whip on a 125 is that you don't have power to bring it back around. So there was a couple times where I went to toss it out and I started to nosedive, or I knew right away, oh crap, I'm not going to clear it this time. So I was trying to bring it back around, and just immediately it would just be completely out of gear and have no power left. And I was just wide open in the air.
Oh, scary. So who won the race between you and Stank? You guys kind of raced next to each other the whole time. You won?
So we only did it based on time qualifying. I beat him in time qualifying. That's where I'm going to claim the W. In the heat races, I got 16th. Which was pretty good because the heat race was essentially a main event, right?
Yeah.
And he got 18th.
Okay.
I think he had a faster time than me in the heat, but I was first heat, so our track wasn't worked in yet compared to his. And then in the LCQ, we just it was an exhibition. But it was, I tried to do a photo finish with him, but it was the jump was around the corner, so it was kind of hairy to go side by side. So he had to stagger, and technically I was first.
Oh,
but that doesn't count. Time qualifying is where I'll claim my victory.
Well, I can tell you what you definitely lost was the burnout after the whole race. I hate to bring that up.
So guess what happened? I get to the wall. Oh, by the way, the camera got there. I did a short one before the camera got there. But I look over to Stank right when we cross the finish line, and I point to the wall. I go, are we doing this? And he goes, yep. And we get right up to the wall. And as soon as I get there, I think to myself, oh no, I've never done a burnout before. So luckily, like it started going. I shift to second. I hear him clicking gears. And I'm like, oh man, he must be in fifth gear right now. I got to second, and right when I got into second, the back end just skated out from under me, and I couldn't hold the bike up anymore.
Well, it was pretty cool to see you
awesome
guys
to
do
watch
that. No, you guys definitely had the crowd cheering you on when you guys were in that LCQ doing the exhibition race. It was pretty cool. I wish they would have showed it more on TV, but it was still cool to watch.